I come at this from a mental health viewpoint, and we've heard about the shortage of mental health beds and the strain on GP practices. But what's been done to prevent mental illness? Because lots of patients become ill because of the effect of things done by the government. The work capability assessment is the classic, where they feel they're going to lose their benefits and it drives them over the edge. And I think the government need to recognise that they can do more to stop people becoming mentally ill rather than treating them when they do become mentally ill. So mental health is, we talk about mental health, but we should talk about preventing mental illness. And I just wonder what can be done by the CCG in conjunction with the government, who don't seem to know what they're doing, to actually improve that.
Again, brilliant question, and I am pleased to say that we're doing quite a lot of work in this area. So firstly, we recognise the link between physical and mental illness. So good vascular health diminishes the risk of developing mental health, dementia and like. So the work of the Mental Health Alliance is as much about promoting good physical, good vascular health, particularly in individuals who are at risk of developing dementia and mental illness, and your GP will tell you that, but we need to get far more consistent. The second is around social isolation and the risk of supporting people in that social isolation, particularly as they get older. How do we prevent that? And we have got now with the National Institute of Healthcare Research have concluded some work around the Genie tool, which again unlocks the capacity and capability of the voluntary sector. So any individual who is concerned by any member of the health, social care or voluntary sector to be at risk of social isolation can now be going through a free resource, which will be the Genie process, which effectively helps them map their access to social inclusion for their local communities and guides them to those clubs or activities or points of inclusion, which again has a massive impact on reducing the risk of anxiety and psychological concerns. And then the third area that we're doing is looking at core partners who absolutely have some huge strengths to play, and I'll cite two here: CAB and Housing Association. So talking with all of the housing associations across Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, what we've seen over recent years is that as housing associations have seen their costs increase and their income reduce, they've tended to reduce the expenditure on enabling roles, so people whose job it is to help people in hard to place housing circumstances. They might have mental illness, they might have challenging social behaviours, and of course what happens without that asset, they tend to be evicted and they tend to become homeless or require even more need. If we can collectively invest in helping people remain well housed with good heating and in good environments, that reduces the emotional stress and reduces therefore the dependency on A&E, dependency on mental health services. Another example is CAB, so conversation about how rather than individuals going to general practice with the let's take financial pressures and stress, and having the symptoms of financial distress manifest in terms of medication or support, actually ability for general practice to refer directly to Citizens Advice Bureau and others to have financial support as part of a general practice's package of care, rather than it just being, well, we'll treat you, but the underlying symptoms or underlying cause of the symptoms, be it financial distress, relationship breakup, just left unmanaged on the table. So building that into the hub model of how primary and community services work together, and recognising the power of addressing the causes of physical and mental manifestation as well as treating those elements is fundamental to how we move forward. So the housing and the voluntary sector components are core parts of the design of hubs that we are now moving forward on. Thank you very much. And